Filipino and Chinese-Filipino families, let alone pure Chinese families. I am sure the eldest brother or eldest sister knows. But anyway,
Tony Yang also, is he aware of this incident? And Miss Carol, if you can relay, kahit na alam ko na intindihan niya na bumabagsak dun yung mga bigas dun sa kanyang port, how can it be legal? Is Bibidek also saying it is legal? Planting without admitting it's not drugs. Is it legal?
Wawaping and her party sa Sabah,
po.
on
July
19,
2024. Yun.
So yung sinasabi din ni Sheila Go during the first time that she appeared, na sinasabi niyang sumakay siya sa boat is also totally false. If you conclude that
We might presume that, Your Honor.
if you conclude that they flew by air, by plane.
Yes, Your Honor. You might presume that, Your Honor.
Thank you, as SP Pro Tempore. Yes, Senator Sherwin.
Madam Chair, on the same topic, Commissioner, I suggest, kasi meron na tayong time,
Yes, po.
meron na tayong date, meron tayong stamp, we can also get the CCTV. I would assume that in KL Airport may CCTV yan. And then second, KL Airport, malaking airport to ah.
Yes po, Your Honor.
So pagtatanungin natin yung isa-isang airlines, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. So it's we need to go to the airport. They have all the manifest. Lahat ng airline na pumapasok on that particular day, pwede nating kunin yung mga airlines and work. Tama nga, sabi nga ni Chairperson, work back para makita natin.
We were tracing
Kasi
it back, Your Honor.
That is an important clue eh.
Yes po, Your
Yung stamp on July 18. It's a clue that we can already start working on.
Yes, Your Honor. We will do that, Your
And
Honor.
of course, pag galing Pilipinas yan, then there's an issue on how she managed to board a plane
Opo.
and leave the Philippines.
At least natuldukan na po yung date of entry niya at oras papasok ng Malaysia. So all we need to do is trace back. So at least yung pong time frame at timeline natin, na limit na po natin.
Pwede ko ba tanungin, Madam Chair, si Ms. Go?
Yes,
Bakit nga
Ms.
may
Go.
time, bakit nga meron kang July 18 entry in KL?
Sen, regarding po that I invoke my right against self-incrimination po. Thank you po.
Salamat, Sen. Sherwin. Okay, since, salamat, Commissioner Viado.
You're welcome po, Your
Since sinabi kanina ni Attorney Tago ng DFA na may coordination ng department sa BI at saka sa NICA sa matters ng visas, pwede pong matanong ang NICA. Sino po yung ating resource person from NICA? Yes, Secretary. Director General?
Deputy, Madam Chair.
Deputy Director General Asedillo. Yes, sir. So, after the Al Jazeera documentary, anong steps ang in-undertake nyo para i-validate yung mga claims doon?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Without going through the details, we would like to confirm we have parallel efforts to verify as to first, whether or not Xie Zhijiang is a bona fide MSS personnel. Two, to check on his story regarding his so-called recruitment in our country. And of course, Madam Chair, its implication as to the person and the circumstances of one Miss Go Huaping.
Okay. As far as you can tell us, ano yung pagkaalam nyo sa bona fides ni Xie Zhijiang?
While we await the results of our parallel efforts, Madam Chair, what we could initially inform the committee are the parallels between Mr. Xie Zhijiang and Go Huaping. We will deal with those specifics. Again, we'd be happy to provide the committee during closed-door discussions and tie it up, Madam Chair, with our current efforts in the National Intelligence Committee as to the extent of the united front work of the Chinese Communist Party and mainland China, Madam Chair.
Salamat,
Madam Chair?
Deputy.
Well,
Yes, Senator De La Rosa.
Yes, I would like to ask the Deputy Director General ng NICA. Are you optimistic, Madam Chair? Are you optimistic the Deputy Director is if we can get that official confirmation or denial coming from Chinese government sources as to the connection of this Ma Dongli to the MSS and also yung si Xi Zhijiang. Are you confident? Are you optimistic na makakuha tayo ng confirmation?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
Your Honor,
Deputy.
given the state of our affairs with mainland China, it would be hard to speak as to the level of cooperation we can expect from said country. However, there are still two other factors that may determine whether or not we can establish if Xie Zhijiang is a bona fide MSS agent. One is the cooperation of our Thai partners who have jurisdiction, rather who have custody of Xie Zhejiang. And second, the strength of the efforts of our, again, the parallel efforts that we have without divulging the specifics, Madam Chair, as to the results yet of that parallel effort.
So if I may, Senator De La Rosa, NICA will be coordinating with DFA and DOJ, possibly, para ma-access ng gobyerno natin si Xie Zhejiang at makuha yung mga impormasyon na kailangan para ma-protectionan nyo ang gobyerno?
Madam Chair, it goes without saying that we are very much willing to cooperate. However, by the nature of our work also, you're aware that there are also other channels that we may be able to avail of.
All the better for the sake of our nation's safety. Yes,
Correct, Madam
Senator
Chair.
De La Rosa.
I'm sure NICA has a very extensive source of information, and they can get it from other sources. If they cannot get it officially from China, then they have their other sources. So I hope they will you pounce on that, Deputy Director General, para mapapalagay ang taong bayan na tayo'y alam natin kung sinong kalaban natin, sinong hindi natin kalaban, at sinong babantayan natin. Yun lang importante dyan, para mapalagay yung taong bayan. Because iba na talaga pag national security ang pag-usapan. Everyone can be restless pagdating sa issue na yan. Yun lang, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you po, Senator De La Rosa. So, Deputy Asedillo, for those three subjects of your parallel efforts right now, yung bona fides ni Xie Zhejiang, then pangalawa, sorry, what was the second point? And then the third was any relation to Guo Huaping. What was the second subject of your parallel efforts?
Madam Chair, there was mention in the documentary
Yes.
that allegedly Xie Zhejiang was recruited here in the Philippines.
Right.
We would like to look into that as well.
Okay. So, for these three subjects ng parallel efforts ninyo, kahit in broad strokes, ano pa ba yung ma-share nyo sa komite sa findings nyo so far?
Madam Chair, these are ancillary to the proceedings today. If you would allow, they are a bit lengthy po.
How long? How lengthy? How many minutes?
This would probably be a few minutes lang po, but I think this would highlight what has so far been uncovered in this committee and how this ties up with the current efforts of the legislature to plug the gaps and the loopholes in our system.
Please
and-
proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Few minutes.
Once again, good afternoon to the committee, Madam Chair. Thank you for this opportunity. Without causing undue anti-Chinese hysteria,
If I may, Deputy Asedillo, this is not anti any country. This is really anti-abuse of the rights of women, children, workers. In fact, alam naman po ng lahat, marami sa ni-rescue na human trafficking victims ay mga Chino mismo. So this is anti yung pogo and criminal activities na kinakanlong nila. So please proceed, Deputy.
thank you, Madam Chair. Very well understood. I think it is important for the committee and our nation to understand the three possible trajectories of massive Chinese presence in our country. One, we have been host to, at various points of our history, we have been host to massive Chinese diaspora. Is this latest influx part of that long-standing trend, or is this something else? Two, there is also the potential that Chinese criminal elements have relocated into our country, having found a safe haven here. Three, this could be related to the first and second, part of a genuine Chinese Communist Party and Chinese government effort to infiltrate, establish a foothold, and ultimately undermine the Philippines and its national interests, whether our foreign policy or our domestic affairs. The three I mentioned cannot be viewed in isolation anymore, generally because of the authoritarian nature of the Chinese government, and specifically because of a piece of Chinese legislation, the National Intelligence Law of 2017, that compels Chinese citizens and entities, even foreign ones operating in China, to cooperate with security and intelligence agencies. And it is a very broad mandate, specifically Article 7. The United Front, which the chairperson earlier adverted to, must be understood not just as a Chinese Communist Party arm, but also as a broad system involving agencies, social organizations, businesses, universities, research institutes, and individuals carrying out United Front work activities. It is at once a dedicated body within the Chinese party-state apparatus and a galaxy of actors orbiting around it. Another aspect to United Front work, Madam Chair, is its broad spectrum, whose depth is often underestimated, ranging from open operations, that is, public diplomacy undertaken by ambassadors across the world, to clandestine operations, which we are now seeing part of, to undermine social cohesion, exacerbate racial tension, influence politics, harm media integrity, facilitate espionage, and increase unsupervised technology transfer. While United Front work is not an intelligence service per se, it can nevertheless offer a cover for intelligence officers carrying out clandestine actions and recruitment of local agents, our very own Filipinos, acting for and in behalf of the CCP and the Chinese government, whether or not they are conscious of it. Since coming to power in 2012, President Xi Jinping has reinvigorated the United Front, which he was already familiar with, his father being a contributor to it during his early days. In May 2015, the United Front work was raised to the rank of Central Conference, thereby acknowledging its increased importance. The most distinctive characteristic of United Front work in the Xi Jinping era consists more than ever on the strategic importance of the United Front and the necessity to improve its coordination. Lastly, Madam Chair, the United Front is therefore a Communist Party policy devised to develop and reinforce its hegemony. The activities of the United Front consist in allying with or neutralizing groups situated outside the sphere of control of the Chinese Communist Party to ensure its role as the sole legitimate representative of the Chinese people. Concretely, this means eliminating domestic and external enemies, controlling groups that could defy CCP authority, building a coalition around the party in order to serve its interests, and projecting influence abroad in such a way that even individuals and groups based in liberal societies such as ours are brought to censor themselves and avoid taking a position against the Chinese Communist Party. So, in conclusion, Madam Chair, whether or not we are able to establish the espionage activities of both Xie Zhijiang and Wan Guohuaping, we already see, Madam Chair, the extent of malign activities of a certain nation in our country. And as a, Madam Chair, if you will permit, this has an impact on the current efforts of the Senate, especially in one, encouraging all our government agencies and even our local government units to pursue prudence and due diligence in their dealings with entities from mainland China. Even noting the efforts previously of our Senate Economic Affairs under Senator Win and our Senate Committee on Public Order and Safety, we already saw the corrosive effects of the POGOs earlier. I think this was last year. Therefore, we encourage the efforts of Senator JINGGOY Estrada in amending our Commonwealth-era espionage law and combining it with efforts to draft an anti-foreign interference law. Also, the strengthening of focal agency measures pertaining to, for example, our birth certificate, which has become the entry point for all other fake documents like passports, LTO driver's licenses, and the like, across defense, military, and intelligence agencies, but even those government agencies that may have indirect security implications. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy Asedillo. Pati sa pagtukoy ng at pag-affirm ng mga areas for remedial legislation na pinapahalagan talaga ng komite namin as we have gone through these successive hearings. Yung brief but very substantive report nyo prefigures some of my follow-up questions and I think gives a very important, not just cautionary note, pero sabi nyo nga paalala o mungkahi sa lahat nating nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno. So it's an understatement almost to say na plausible yung Al Jazeera documentary. Not 100% certain but at least plausible. Tama po ba, Deputy?
Yes, Madam Chair. If I was referring earlier to certain common elements between Ms. Guo Huaping and Xie Zhijiang, if you can notice between them, Madam Chair, they were practically plucked out of obscurity and they suddenly become awash with cash, which allowed them to foray into business and eventually, in the case of Ms. Guo Huaping, even a foray into politics. Again, without discounting the possibility that this is in aid of espionage activities, on the basis alone that they are able to penetrate various agencies of government, undermine various systems existing within our country, this becomes a very, very, shall we say, insightful case for every one of us to take note, Madam Chair, not just us in the national security sector.
Opo. So, kaya siguro that accounts for the great interest ng ating mga kababayan sa particular case study na to. And dahil napaka-interesante in that way also si Shi Zhejiang, sinikap na ba ng Nika makipag-ugnayan kay Shi?
Yes, Madam Chair. Again, without divulging further detail, there is indeed such an effort.
Now, one thing that nabanggit nyo na rin kanina, almost indirectly, Deputy, one thing that stood out for me dun sa Zoom interview namin kay Wang Fugwe, yung sinabi niyang not all the spies are Chinese. Tumitingin din ba kayo sa mga alegasyon na may mga kababayan nating espiyang Pilipino pero nagsisilbi sa interes ng dayuhang bansa?
Madam Chair, there are at least 3 ways that this may be achieved. One is for the Chinese government to make use of their massive diaspora, not just here in the Philippines, but all across the globe. Second is the use of our own citizens, either through the promise of money and other enticements, whether or not sila po ay sold doon po sa gustong gawin ng CCP. But the mere fact po that there are enticements, madali po makuha ang loob nila. A third, Madam Chair, although wala pa po kaming documented instance of this in our country, there is one instance in the United States that the Chinese government used a Taiwanese citizen to access sensitive information within the US government, Madam Chair, because precisely that Taiwanese citizen would be a throw-off. Hindi po siya paghimalaan given the strong alliance of these two countries, of Taiwan with the US, pero siya po yung tinarget at siya po yung nakuha ng Chinese government.
At yung animosity din supposedly between Beijing and Taipei. Gusto ko lang, before I go on to my next question, gusto ko lang i-make of record dahil 2 beses nang nabanggit ito and kahit papaano nababahala ako eh. I know it's necessary dun sa pag-aaral nyo sa 3 possible trajectories, 3 paraan, pero nababanggit talaga yung massive diaspora. And gusto ko lang ulit i-affirm na Chinese Filipinos are Filipinos. At yung Chinese-Filipino community dito sa atin on many occasions explicit sumusuporta sa Philippine national interest. And in particular, ilang pagkakataon tumulong mismo sa investigasyong ito ng Committee on Women. I wouldn't be surprised kung sa Committee on Economic Affairs, on Public Safety and Dangerous Drugs, even Committee on Labor na isa pa sa mga Senate committees na nag-imbestiga laban sa Pogo. So kaugnay nung pinag-usapan natin kanina that this is not about anti-China or anti-Chinese dahil tumutulong din po tayo sa mga Chinong victim survivors ng human trafficking. In the same way, gusto ko lang i-make of sarili kong maternal great-grandmother, pure Chinese. Halos lahat siguro tayo around the table, we have the heritage as well. So I just wanted to make that of record while appreciating yung difficult task na kailangan ginagawa ng intelligence community natin in this very globalized world, no? Na nagiging, sabi nyo nga kanina, Deputy, it's very complex. Deputy, an earlier school of thought was that hindi pwedeng magkaroon ng spies sa Pogo kasi galit ang China sa Pogo. Galit ang China sa casino bosses. And in fact, this was the rebuttal of our critics when we first surfaced the idea of espionage activities in Bamban na hindi na naman namin inimbento kasi nung nung nag-ocular inspection kami doon pagkatapos ng raid, mismong yung mga law enforcement and I suppose intel persons natin doon ay nagsabing meron din kaming iniimbestiga na possible hacking, possible interception ng government communications at government websites. So, pagkatapos ng unang rebuttal na ganun, lumalabas unti-unti ang ebidensya hanggang ngayon. First, dun sa defected agent na si Elias Eric, who penetrated Cambodia's scam compounds. Tapos yung Washington Post report about criminal networks in Myanmar enjoying protection from the Chinese government. And now, itong Shi Zhejiang, allegedly, both billionaire boss at saka MSS agent na iniimbestiga nyo pa. So, sang-ayon ba kayo, Deputy, sa akin na itong walang spy sa Pogo kasi galit ang China sa Pogo theory, dapat abandonahin na ito?
Madam Chair, for us to fully understand to what ends the CCP and the Chinese government will go or to what lengths they will go, we first have to understand that their ideology is rooted in Marxist-Leninist doctrine. Ang ibig po sabihin nun, they don't have any qualms about what we would call tactical alliances. And these tactical alliances may involve, for example, what we call whitelist parties. Ano po itong mga whitelist parties? Ito po yung mga partido, political parties that don't have very strong ideological leanings. So, pwede po silang makipag-alyansa sa mga ganong klaseng partido. But more importantly, Madam Chair, there has now been long-standing, there's been established evidence that even po yung mga Chinese triad groups have been used by several levels of subterfuge, either to the MSS or through other means. Sila po ay ginagamit din. If the only way to gain a foothold, we have seen this in other countries and probably even in our own country, if one of the ways to establish foothold is to establish, for example, a gambling den or other means of illicit activity, then they will resort to that, Madam Chair. Again, because it is deeply rooted in their doctrine. Wala po silang pinipili na pamamaraan as long as it will ultimately serve the party's ends.
Well, for the record lang, may mga nagfi-feedback din na ano ko rin sa kalooban ko. Actually, hindi na po Marxist-Leninist ang China eh. Maoist na lang siya. Opo. And may mga Marxista, may mga Marxist-Leninist dito sa Pilipinas na kumikilos sa legal at kontra din sa ganitong o at anumang klaseng pang-aabuso ng China, bansang China o gobyernong China dito po sa atin. Just for the record, Deputy. And lastly po for Nika for today, yung isa pang remarkable thing that emerged dun sa statement ni Wang Fugoy, yung video statement niya dun sa video interview, ay yung alegasyon na sabi niya, the Chinese government uses the weaknesses of the individuals they want to tap to control them. At ang si Guo Huaping daw, ang weakness daw niya ay yung defective nationality niya. Eh, ang dami pong lumabas dito sa Senate hearings, sa hearings ng House, ng Quadcom na how shall birth certificate. So then it seems to me that this network of field agents could be very vast. Baka hindi iisa lang. So may mga comments po ba ang Nika dito?
Madam Chair, I earlier mentioned the National Intelligence Committee, which meets regularly. Mataas po yan sa agenda ng NIC. And the NIC is also replicated at the regional level. When we say replicated po, lahat po ng government agencies as represented in the National Intelligence Committee chaired by the DG of NICA are also represented in the regional po. Ito po kinakascade na po natin pababa kasi po napansin mo natin whether we're talking about legitimate or cover businesses, higher education institutions, sister city agreements, cultural exchanges like the Confucius Institutes, even in our critical infra, the influx of illegal drugs, the acquisition of real estate, lahat po ito pinapasukan na po ng particular na bansa na pinag-uusapan natin. Kaya po ang pagtingin na po natin dito, not just at the national level, tinitingnan na rin po natin at the local government level po, Madam Chair.
Salamat. Maraming salamat, Deputy Director General Asidilio. Dalawang tanong lang para kay Mr. Tony Yang. So could I ask Ms. Carolyn, tama po ba? Hindi ko rin ako naniniwala na hindi kayo marunong mag-Tagalog o Bisaya ng maayos. Tingin ko naiintindihan yung mga sinasabi namin lahat. But anyway, sige, Ms. Carolyn. Salamat. So, unang tanong ko po, Mr. Yang, kilala nyo ba si Shi Zhejiang? I want to show you this paper from the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. Ang sabi po dito sa OCCRP paper, another brother, meaning a young brother, shares the title of Honorary President of the Philippine Chinese Youth Chamber of Commerce with Shi Lungkai, another Belt and Road entrepreneur, handling huge sums of plant investments in Southeast Asia. Ayon sa OCCRP paper na ito, kapatid daw ito ni Michael Yang. So it's either kayo po o si Hong Jiang Yang. At ito daw si Shi Lungkai ay isang alias ni Shi Zhejiang. So yan na muna siguro, Miss Carolyn. Kung kilala ni Mr. Yang itong si Shi Zhejiang.
请问杨先生，您是否认识这位佘子江先生
不认识，
？I don't know him.
You don't know Shi Zhejiang. Do you know Shi Lungkai?
您认识佘陆凯吗
不认识，
？Not, I don't know him.
You don't know him. Kayo ba o si Hong Jiang Yang ang Honorary President of the Philippine Chinese Youth Chamber of Commerce?
你还是那个洪江林，就是这个年轻商会的名誉理事长吗？您是这个年轻商会的理事长吗？是。No, it's not. I'm not the honorary president of the Youth Chamber of Commerce.
So it's Hong Jiang Yang who is the Honorary President. of the Philippine Chinese Youth Chamber of Commerce.
那你知道这个洪江阳先生他是否这个年轻商会的名誉理事长吗？
我不知道他是不是那个名誉会长，我不知道。
I do not know if he is the honorary president of this Youth Chamber of Commerce.
You do not know. So if you don't know, it's possible that he is the honorary president, joint with Shi Jijiang or Shi Lukay. Sabi din po sa report na ito na in 2017, your brothers Hong Ming and Hong Jiangyang attended a Chinese Communist Party sponsored conference in Beijing for overseas nationals as Philippine representatives of the All China Federation of Returned Overseas Chinese. Pakilang Miss Carolyn.
这里也据说，在2017年，你有参与就是中国共产党他们举办的一个会议，你能证明这是对还是不对呢？对。
Your mic, sir.
我
See, sir, you understand me even in English.
我
Sige po.
没有去参加过这种会议啊。
I never attended any of those kinds of conferences.
Not you, sir. Your brothers, Hong Jiang and Hong Ming Yang, attended according to
你的
this
哥哥
report.
你的兄弟洪明和洪坚阳，他们是否参加这个会议？
这个我就不知道了。我们兄弟，我跟他们没有什么来往。
Okay. I'm not aware of this with my brothers because I don't have any interaction with them.
Well, you are the eldest brother. Even in Filipino and Chinese Filipino families, let alone pure Chinese families, I am sure the eldest brother or eldest sister knows. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. Mr. Yang, I want to show you this other document. This is from the next document. Okay, this is from the 10th National Congress of Returned Overseas Chinese. This is under the auspices of the Communist Party of China. And there are names here, Yang Hongjiang and Yang Hongming. So are you and your brothers assets of the Chinese Communist Party?
看看这个文件里面，这个名单有你的弟弟的名字，就是杨洪江还有杨洪明。那您是否能确认他们俩是否这个党员？
这个我就不知道了，他们是不是党员，我真的不知道。
I do not know if they are members of this group.
Well, this was the 10th National Congress of Returned Overseas Chinese. This 10th National Congress was organized by the Communist Party of China, and Yang Hongjiang and Yang Hongming, your two brothers, were delegates to this Congress.
那这里有说明你的两位弟弟杨洪江和杨洪明他们就是当做这个会议的代表。那您怎么说？I'm not aware of this.
You're not aware. All right, I am informing you of this. This is a document of the Congress itself, organized by the Chinese Communist Party itself. And lastly for today, Mr. Yang, kilala niyo ba si Ma Dongli?
最后一个问题，您是否认识这个马东离先生？
不认识。
I don't know him.
You don't know Ma Dongli. So I will leave this for now. But I know that a revelation about the young brothers is forthcoming when government reaches. Lastly, Mr. Sorry, Miss Caroline, please tell him first.
只是通知您，那如果我们对这个调查有进展的话，我们也会邀请他们两个。
好好好。
Okay.
And just a follow-up question, Mr. Yang. Member ba kayo sa kahit anong Chinese organization dito or overseas?
请问你在菲律宾或是在国内有没有做一个任何集团的或是任何一个商会的会员呢？
我在卡加园那个中国商会，卡加园延续中国商会，我是里面的会员。
So I am a member of the Chinese Business Chamber of Commerce in Cagayan de Oro City.
All right, yun lamang.
只有这个吗？
Madam Chair，
只有这个，有没有其他的？
其他的没有了，就这个。
It's only this one.
Only this one. Senator De La Rosa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since yung topic ay nandun kang Mr. Yang, pwede ko na rin idiretso sa PBDIC, Madam Chair. May I know from PBDIC if what is the nature of your dealings with the company of Mr. Tony Yang
inside your premises?
PBDEC resource person, nasaan po kayo?
PBDEC?
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Medrano,
Yes,
Attorney
good
Medrano.
afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Attorney Benjamin Medrano. I'm the acting Deputy Administrator for Operations in PBDEC. So with me today is Attorney Lizelle Gusay, the acting Chief of the Legal Services Division. Thank you for your time. So the question is, what is the dealing between Tony Yang and PBDEC? So
Yeah,
what?
because lumabas during the last hearing that yung kanyang steel company is situated inside your premises. So ano bang arrangement ninyo? Locator lang ba sila? Nagrerenta ba sila or what?
Yes, Madam Chair. So PBDEC is essentially a landlord. So it is the Subic of the South, right? So it's located in northern Mindanao. It's a 3,000 hectare estate. And then Phil Sanjia registered as a locator back in 2019 during the term of Administrator Quijano. So they are a registered locator. I'm referring to the company, Philippine Sanjia Steel Development Corporation.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Go ahead. No, I would just like to
Senator Joel.
ask Madam Chair, ano yung kontrata nitong Sanjia sa inyo? Locator siya, and you were talking about some number of hectares in the land, if I'm not mistaken, in Tagoloan. Is that where it is?
Yes, so it's situated in Tagoloan and Villanueva. It's composed of two municipalities in Misamis Oriental. So
Yes, but Sanjia is a locator operating in Tagoloan lang.
yes.
And how many
Madam Chair.
hectares are they leasing?
If I recall, it's from our records, it's around 62 hectares.
62 hectares. Can you also, Madam Chair, we asked that we be given a copy of their contract. You have a contract for sure, right?
Yes, in fact, Madam Chair, we provided the committee through the Chief Legislative Officer all the copies of the documents relating to Phil Sanjia. Last weekend, the team worked day and night to collate all the documents and provided them last weekend.
Okay, so they started when? You made mention, 20 or
So the application was made back in 2018.
2018?
and
That's
then-
a 25-year lease. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may, just one last, because I've seen this report about PBDEC's own report, and it was noted that PBDEC actually flagged Sanjia for alleged rice and drug smuggling. You know, I was just wondering because I don't think that when you came up with the contract, ano ba yung parte ng contract na yon? Yung contract ba na yon ay, because I can show you the site development plan, nagulat ho ako, may wharf dito, mayroong pumapasok na mga shipping companies or malalaking barko. So, kung ganoon, hindi ba dapat merong customs at ano ito, meron po itong nagmamanage, nagre-regulate nito because it is no longer part of PBDEC's jurisdiction na papasok ang international shipping company doon sa lugar na yon. Is that correct?
So it's like this, Madam Chair, if I may. So PBDEC owns the foreshore and the offshore of Tagoloan and Villanueva. It has title to the foreshore and offshore. The locators, some of them, they likewise lease the foreshore and offshore. So we have several locators there, like San Miguel, like FDC. They have their own. They lease the foreshore and offshore of PBDEC.
My only question, Your Honor, is that is Sanjia allowed to operate a commercial port? They are not.
They did apply for
They can apply through PBDEC.
they did lease the foreshore and offshore and applied to register as a commercial port operator back in 2019 or 2020.
And live pa rin po yan, hindi nyo yan terminate.
It is currently a live contract.
Live. In Section 19 of the contract, Madam Chair, Section 19, signed by alias Antonio Lim. Are you aware of this? It provides that the lessee agrees to not use or permit the use of the leased premises or any part thereof for any immoral and other purposes prohibited by law. In 2021, in your own report, PBDEC noted that Sanjia allegedly meron pong mga rice and drug smuggling at their port inside PBDEC. Anong ginawa niyo dito?
So that
report we've submitted to the committee, right? So there was an alleged incident back in 2021, which was PBDEC side was alerted, and initially, from what I read from the report, initially the administrator back then halted the shipment because of at that time they did not yet obtain a permit to operate, right? But eventually, the agency which has jurisdiction over the control of the borders and as well as the collection of the fees and tariffs, they intervene.
That is your opinion, sir. I'm sorry. That is your opinion. Is that your opinion, or that is what your report says?
That is what our report says.
That is not under your jurisdiction. It is under your jurisdiction because Sanjay is inside the PBDEC's area.
No, may I clarify, Madam Chair? So PBDEC, right, is the owner of as the owner of the foreshore and offshore. It is also the the powers of PBDEC is control over the safety of the port. It is another agency which has jurisdiction over the cargoes. So in that sense, we do not have a say in the
No, sorry, sir. Number one, are you allowed to operate a commercial port? You are allowed under your
yes, we are. In
charter?
fact,
Under your charter, and no national government agency is actually regulating the ins and outs of that commercial port. And that's absurd.
no, we were
Can
created.
you just answer my question, sir, so we don't go around the
Yeah.
bushes? Are you allowed?
Yes, Madam Chair.
And you are not being regulated by any government agency, national government agency, customs? We have
The
customs.
PTA.
PTA?
No, we are not.
PA? Well, you're not. And when you made that report that you flagged Sanjay for alleged rice and drug smuggling, Section 19 of the contract, isn't it that is already a ground to terminate the contract of Sanjay to PBDEC?
Senator Joel, if I may. Yeah, just
Senator De La Rosa.
short interjection. Attorney, who was that administrator during that time that made that report of rice and drug smuggling inside that facility?
Back in 2021, Madam Chair, the administrator was Pompey Lavinia.
Still the administrator today.
No more.
What is he now in PBDEC? Kasi inimbitahan po siya ng komite, nag-reply sila.
He's no longer with PBDEC.
Ano na po siya wala na siyang posisyon sa PBDEC?
No more, Madam Chair.
Alright, pero at least sinagot niya yung imbitasyon ng komite. Hindi lang sila makapunta ngayon.
I am not.
No, I'm just informing
Okay.
everyone.
So again, Madam Chair, because this is in aid of legislation.
Yeah.
One, it feels so weird, Madam Chair, that a locator can actually put up a wharf and operate a commercial port, Madam Chair. And under your nose, you were saying that you yourselves came up with a report saying that you flagged down Sanjay for alleged rice and drug smuggling, and yet you cannot do anything to terminate the contract.
Can I answer, Madam Chair?
Please do.
The report stated that the agency which has control over the cargoes, right, cleared it, and at that time the management did contact NICA, and then NICA also confirmed that there was no alert order which was issued on the cargo. So we had no jurisdiction over the
Madam Chair, and that is why, sorry,
Yeah.
I cannot allow, as a Senator of the Republic of the Philippines, I cannot allow PBDEC to operate like that. All of a sudden, hugas kamay na kayo, nakahuli kayong smuggler, nakahuli kayo ng rice smuggling, drug smuggling, tapos wala na, hugas kamay na kayo, wala kayong jurisdiction, and yet you can actually operate a commercial port. What did you do? There are reports, I have gotten different kinds of reports, and they were saying that a certain person from the, please correct me if I'm wrong, a certain person from the Bureau of Customs, inarbor ito, at kayo naman, binigay nyo na lang. At sasabihin nyo ngayon na wala kayong jurisdiction. How could you say you don't have any jurisdiction?
it's just not the mandate of PBDEC, Mr. Chair.
How could you have a mandate, first and foremost, to operate such and give the lessee, the locator, to actually operate a commercial port? And then you're now saying wala na kayong jurisdiction. But please answer my question. Is there someone from Bureau of Customs na nagsabi na kami na ang magte-take over niyan?
I believe it was stated in the report.
In the report, that's why. So it's in the report. Why are you not saying it? Because you did not follow it up. Because you did not do anything else afterwards. Is that correct?
I'm not
That is the
sure what
problem.
happened.
Kung inutil na yung PBDEC natin, wala tayong aasahan talaga. Magpasmagil tayo ng kahit na ano dito. May we ask PAOK, sir, PAOK, why was there undue haste to allow Sanjia to become a commercial port after the smuggling of rice was reported?
What we could share to the committee is merely based on a report that we were able to obtain, but this report is from 2021. The report is for the chairman and members of PBDEC, IA Board of Directors. Part of the report indicates, paragraph 8, at 1:11:15 p.m. of February 2021, Attorney Gusay informed the administrator that she has verified with Bureau of Customs Collector John Simon by phone call that the documents of the importation are in order, and that the Bureau of Customs has also verified with the Regional Director of NICA that there is no alert order for the importation, and so on and so forth. And towards the end of the paragraph, a certain Attorney Noe L. Espidillo Jr. disclosed that PBDEC will be in trouble if the cargo was not released immediately.
For the record, that was Director Casio of PAOK. And I think the Attorney Kusay mentioned in the report is also present as a resource person today for PBDEC.
Madam Chair, may we ask if the one who signed the contract, itong si Antonio Lim o si Tony Yang also, is he aware of this incident? And Ms. Carol, if you can relay, kahit na alam ko na intindihan niya na tayo dito, anong nangyari dito? Is he denying the fact that there was rice smuggling that's happening in his company?
Ms. Carlin, please.
请问一下，因为我们现在在讲关于这个合约，上面有写上你的签名，有 Antonio Lim 的签名。那请问您是否对这件事，这个大米走私的事件，您是不是知道这件事？
这件事我知道，不是走私啊，正规到了啊。
I know of this incident, but I know that this is not smuggling. This is through a legal process.
Of drugs?
And the rice.
How could it be a process? That's part of your contract? A part of your contract, a steel company, nagpapadala na, bumabagsak dun yung mga bigas, dun sa kanyang port? How can it be legal? Is PBDEC also saying it is legal? Granting without admitting it's not drugs. Is it legal?
Madam Chair,
Attorney Medrano.
may I refer you to Attorney Liza? She's present and she can expound.